by saying, welcome to the Checkpoint Church podcast. This is a show that helps nerds, geeks, and gamers feel seen, connected, and spiritually supported because you don't have to explore your faith alone. Today, we've only really got two topics. We're going to be talking about our November clubs. We play a video game, we watch an anime, we read a book every month together, and it is the end of November. Tomorrow is the first day of December, which is insane. And so we're going to be talking about the November picks, as well as announcing the December picks if you missed them. And then our second topic is going to be about the Game Awards. We're going to go through all of the nominees, maybe not all the nominees. I don't really care about esports. I guess if either of my lovely co-hosts want to talk about esports, then that can happen, but I have no intention of doing such a thing. So you can see all of them online, but we'll go through the ones that are the most interesting to us. But who am I? I am Nerd Pastor Nate. I'm a real life nerd, a real life pastor who finds Jesus in my favorite fandoms. And this is the space where we are tying together all of the folks who make Checkpoint Church what it is, from our Discord server to our YouTube channel. We want you to be a part of the show. We are glad that you're there in the chat. If you're there, we're glad if you're watching the VOD after the fact. Be sure to say hello down below. If you're watching the VOD especially, we want to hear from you. But without further ado, we're going to get started with our show by having our two co-hosts introduce themselves and talk about what they have been watching, playing, and reading over the past couple days.
My name is DG. Recently, I've been watching a bunch of stuff since the last time I've been on the podcast. Watched Water. Finally got around to watching the Super Mario Bros. movie. Finished season 2 of Has Been Hell. We wrapped up our watch party for Favorite Flower. Finally, part 1 of Wicked. Me too, watching Wicked the musical. Also finished Prof. Noctis's Final Fantasy Tactics lecture and have now started his Festive lecture. And along with that, just to as for what I've been playing through Trails in the Sky first chapter. I got through all of chapter 2 and now on chapter 3. And also started up playing through Certified X. Started up reading The Wizard of Oz.
So did you say Trails in the Sky first chapter has chapters within it?
Yes.
Why would they do such a thing?
So it's kind of like the reason why it's called first chapter is because they had to split it's like akin to like where they had to do with like Final Fantasy VII, where they had to split up into parts. This is basically one.
Right. It's like a reboot of sorts. But why would they do first chapter?
It was in the original.
Oh, it was also called first chapter, or it was called chapter or something?
Yes, no, it was called first chapter. Yes, because the game was so big, they had to split it up.
Man, there's got to be more words. There's got to be more words. There's so many fun words in the English language. I feel like they don't all have to be chapters. This is chapter 3 of the first chapter, and it makes me think of my beloved Ace Attorney and all of the finding the cases of all the games and all the acronyms that now I know. But coming into the series, I remember people being like, "Oh, my favorite case is like, AA3 -2-3 scene is like the best one," and I'm like, too many letters, too many numbers. Can't figure that out, but yeah.
You would think they would do like Act 1 chapters 1,
right.
2, and 3, right?
Yeah. Or even go the Dungeons and Dragons route and do like Kerr. I'm fine with Kerr. That's cool. That's an interesting thing. Or campaign, something like that. Any of those are fun, but yeah. Chapters and chapters. Chapters on chapters.
Chapters on chapters on chapters.
All right. Very good, DGC. Let's hear it from our next co-host.
Hey, my name is Lizzie, and this week I've been playing a lot of Hello Kitty Island Adventure again.
Very nice.
I started a Christmas event, and then today I was playing some Overwatch 2 and Parkitect. Trying to think of any other games I've played more recently, but that's Oh, and I got back into Dinkum a little bit, which is kind of like Animal Crossing and Stardew Valley had a baby and it's in Australia? Maybe? I don't know. It's fun. It's a lot of fun. Um, I watched the like 1960s, 1970s Santa Claus is coming to town, I think is what it's called. The little at
I know which one you're talking about.
animation.
The one by Frank Bass.
I think so. With you put one foot in front, and I don't want to get us
Yep,
DMCA'd.
that's the one.
Yeah,
Yes,
Rankin Bass, classic.
I love those old timey Christmas movies.
I love them too.
They're so good. And then I watched a movie that one of my housemates was watching, and I did not get the name, but it was, I think, like a Bollywood movie. It was really cool though. I'll have to get the information and share that with y'all. And reading, I haven't really been reading anything. Oh, back to playing real quick. I did play some Flip 7 and some Spoons. And do you guys know what Green Glass Doors is?
No.
That sounds really familiar.
Maybe we can play at Mana and Mingle if people are there. But like we don't have to, I don't know if we got time to play Green Glass Doors right this second. But it's a lot of fun. And I think that's all I got.
Very cool. Yeah, that's great. I think that I have been in a weird spot of not really watching much of anything. It has been a busy couple of days. The holiday of Thanksgiving in particular is a busy one. We do a lot of traveling. And considering that I've got a 6 and a 3-year-old, a lot of my time is spent managing them. So I did not watch any shows, but I did watch a lot of things. We went and did the like live Polar Express at a local transportation museum. And so we took the girls to the Polar Express, and that was super cool. It was so much better, honestly, than I expected. Like I knew it was going to be, fun enough, but I was kind of like, this is going to be sort of an activities for kids. I'm going to watch my kids enjoy it. But like, it was impressive. The level of effort that they put into it was really something, worth noting. So we put on our PJs and drove to the museum in the middle of the night and got aboard the train and did our tickets and had all the stuff. So that was a super fun time and enjoyed it quite a bit. Other than that, I am finishing a bunch of series in anime. I've been catching up with the latest season of Ganoja, which is a video game, visual novel that nobody played. Like I remember whenever it came out and it was like nobody cared about it. It was very weird. It was a very strange looking game. It was actually a part of, I think, a Game Awards presentation. Like I think they had a trailer at a Game Awards and nobody knew what was going on. But I was like, this looks up my alley. I got to try it. It was pretty good. It was definitely weird. But the story did go to some interesting places. And now they're making an anime of it. So I'm all aboard for that one. Super enjoying that. I also caught up on, or not caught up on, but started the anime Pluto, which I knew nothing about. And absolutely blew my mind. I went into it thinking it was just an interesting little, like, a little thriller, a little murder mystery kind of anime that was pretty highly rated on Netflix. I think I got to episode 3 and was like, hey, that little character looks kind of familiar. I wonder what the deal is with that character. And so something pretty huge happens in that episode as well. And so I Googled it and I was like, does this character actually stay dead? And they were like, yes, this character is actually known as this character. And this is all this. And these characters are all a part of the Astro Boy universe. I have never in all of my life cared about Astro Boy. Like there was no reason for me to care. It was an old anime. It was like, I was way too old for it. Even in the reboots of it, like it never came to cable, I'm sure it was something that you had to like find the DVDs of. And so I never cared about Astro Boy, but after watching Pluto, which turns out a like gritty twist on one of the arcs of Astro Boy, now I have to know everything about Astro Boy, and I have to know everything about the anime artist, mangaka, director that is behind Pluto, Urasawa, who is also the one that did 20th Century Boys, Monster, other series out there. And so now I am like just on this absolute deep dive binge. I have to know everything about Astro Boy and about Urasawa. I don't know who was sleeping on it, but I shared it on my Instagram stories, and I had friends messaging me, and they were like, "Yeah, Astro Boy's great." And I was like, "Why'd you never tell? Tell people that Astro Boy's great. Nobody knows that Astro Boy is. You don't see anyone walking around in an Astro Boy shirt. I don't see any Astro Boy cosplay. Like, what are we doing? This is such a good series, and the fact that it has stayed so niche blows me away." So I will continue to preach the good gospel of Astro Boy and tell people that they need to experience it. Definitely need to experience Pluto, because that is like now in my I'm going to say top 10 anime of all time, but I think that maybe once the recency bias dies out, maybe it'll go more to like a top 20. But there is unquestionably, it is in my top. Like it is a 10 out of 10 without exception. Like so worth watching. Beautiful animation, perfect story, wrapped up in a nice little like blanket. It didn't stay too long. Yeah, really fun. Other than that, I have a lot of things that I want to watch. The Knives Out 3 movie dropped. Stranger Things dropped. Has Been Hotel dropped a couple weeks ago. And it's like all this stuff is just backing up. And I don't know when I'm going to watch it, but I really need to. I have been playing really just one game, and it is a game that is driving me insane. And that is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. So we'll talk about this again with the Game Awards in a moment, but I have played most of the games from the Game Awards, at least all the ones that I care to play. I always try to play through the indie games, the games for Impact, and then Game of the Year nominees. And Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 was one of the ones that I had not played for the Game of the Year category. And so I started it up, and I hated this game so deeply, so fervently for the first 10 hours of gameplay. It was the worst game I've ever played. Like it was to the point that I was like hate playing. I was like, I'm so grumpy at this game that I'm going to really get those hours in so that I can tell everyone how bad it is with them out without them like judging me that I didn't play enough of it. Now I think I'm at like 35 hours into this awful game that I hated so much. And now I get it. I do understand a lot of it. I do think it does some very silly things. I think there is some like silly aspects. One of the things that they tell you whenever you start to seek out advice on how to play this game is they will tell you to go and find a bunch of books and read them. And I was like, oh boy, what a video game. You're really going to tell me that I need to go read books? Yeah. So it turns out it's really going on for that like immersive life sim-esque, you need to like grind and get your levels up so that you can become more than just like a level 0 chump. But whew, the combat, I will say, I am now like very deep into this game, and I can like say with my whole chest, I think that this is a bad combat system. Like, I think it's just, I understand what they're going for. I respect the hustle and the like vibe. What they're wanting to do is they're wanting to create very realistic sword play. And so you have 5 combat zones that you can swing your sword from. So you can do head, arms, legs. And whichever one you select, if your opponent's sword is there, then they will parry. You can do the timing with your own parry. If you parry perfectly, going the right angle at the right time, then you can do like a riposte and immediately attack back. But if you immediately attack back on the side that they're already blocking on, then they'll block. It's like, I understand what they're going for. It ain't there yet. Like it's not good enough for what they're trying to get it to do. And so all it becomes is like I am just absolutely spamming buttons and dying in like 3 hits. So it was a miserable experience there for a while, but I have come out of the misery, and now I am enjoying it a good bit and trying to continue plugging in with the story. And then I also have been playing Pokemon Lazarus on my handheld, playing through. This is a ROM hack. So this is the same person that did the absolutely gorgeous Pokemon Emerald Sea Glass a couple of years ago. And this is it was like a demake of Emerald to make it look like the Gold and Silver games. And then also a ton of quality of life touch-ups, made it look very pretty and like polished and almost like I don't know how else to describe it, as like fantastic. Like it's like the colors in it are very fantasy-esque. This is their take on a fully original game. As far as I know, no Fakemon. Every Pokemon is a real Pokemon, but so far, super enjoying that one. And then reading, keep saying Perry. Yes, where is Perry? Reading Buckeye, which is a like book of the year contender all over. Enjoying it. Okay. It's fine. Yaiba is a manga that I'm picking up on from a long time ago. Still reading God Didn't Make Us to Hate Us. That is one that I'm reading like a daily devotional. So it's like one chapter at a time, hence the reason that I've been reading it for like over a month. All the Way to the River, which is not what I expected it to be at all. The Beauty of Games by Frank Lantz, who is the same guy that did Universal Paperclips and then most recently Q Up. And then my 1001 book is called Gabriel's Gift, which is like if Harold and the Purple Crayon was for a YA audience. And that's the best way to explain that one, I think. So,
Interesting.
Yeah, that's what I've been getting into, watching, playing, and reading. Looking at the chat here, we have a couple of things here. T-Bone recently started reading Child of Light by Terry Brooks. Marlena has hopped in the chat as well. Welcome in to Marlena. T-Bone also played Monument Valley 1 and 2. Such good games. I'm glad that you're enjoying them. I have not played 3 myself, but I know that it's been out for a little bit now. And the Potato has been playing Faith the Unholy Trinity recently. Those are some interesting experiences for sure. Hope that you were not too scandalized by them. They are definitely some rough plays, but some fun ones. I think that was a big era of Markiplier for me, was the Faith games. Those were the ones that I watched him work through. Cool. All right. Well, do let us know if you've got anything that you want to let us know that you have been watching and playing and reading. But we're going to get into the stuff that we all theoretically have been watching, playing, and reading for the past month, which is our club picks. So we have a video game club, an anime club, and a book club here at Checkpoint Church over on our Discord server. We vote at the end of each month, and we join the forum club posts, play through, read through, or watch these things throughout the course of the month, and then talk about them here on the show. The anime, the book, and the game for the past month. The anime was The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity. I think I've nailed that one every time now. I've nailed the title, even though it's very hard to remember. The book that we read is Martyr, and then the game that we played was the very first Cat Quest. So we'll start with anime. Lizzie, did you check out the anime? What did you think? What were your vibes? DGC, of course, our host of our anime club on Tuesday nights for the month. So maybe we'll start with DGC. What'd you think?
I enjoyed it for the most part, but wasn't really itching to watch more like with our previous pick.
Mm.
And I think part of it is due to me like starting to feel like a bit burnt out. Like being the host for like the past few months. Thankfully, Paris gonna be taking over next month, so that'll give me a nice. I also think the job also kind of took me out of it as well, because I don't know why it kind of feels a bit weird, but overall I did enjoy it though. There's good moments. I like the characters. Definitely cried at parts.
For sure.
I've not watched the anime myself, but I've heard it's pretty good. I did see like a very short clip, and I was definitely like, I should probably watch more of the animes that we watch for sure. I think this is the third time that I'm like, man, maybe I should have joined. But Tuesdays are pretty busy for me.
Yeah, I think it was like a breath of fresh air. It was just kind of a sweet, cute, nothing heavy. Just kind of a pleasant watch. So if you were looking for like a little, it's not even, I wouldn't even call it a romantic comedy. Like I think there were some comedic elements, but it wasn't like that was what it was going for. It was just a little romance anime. And it reminded me actually of one, I think from last year, maybe the year before, that was like Shikimori's Not Just a Cutie or something like that. It was very much in that like vibe of anime. One that never really like took too big of swings. I do think there were some moments in this one that were a little bit like almost too tropey to handle, like eye-wateringly, eye-rolling tropes. But they were fine, and we made it to the end. I do think that it was a good enough experience. Very pleasant to look at, like good animation. I don't know if it was an A1. It looked like an A1 if it wasn't. And I enjoy typically their work. They typically do a good job with the romance stuff. So yeah, not much to say about it because it just kind of was what it was. For those that missed out on the experience, this is a kind of like, I mean, trying to think of the most basic way to describe it. It is a guy and girl that shouldn't be together, but because of true love, like are naturally drawn towards one another. So you've got this like somewhat rough around the edges guy who's kind of lackluster, uninspired, doesn't know what he wants to do with his life, considers himself kind of a loser, even though he's not necessarily a loser. He works at his like parents' cake shop, and there is this girl that comes into his parents' cake shop that he is immediately enamored with, who is just this beautiful girl from the rival school that he shouldn't even be associating with. But of course, they do. They get to know each other. They break all of the rules of like this school shouldn't associate with this school. This girl shouldn't associate with this boy. But they do anyway, and they fall in love and all those kinds of things. And you know, it's very a stereotypical kind of romantic experience, but the stuff that I think made it what it was were definitely the characters. That was probably the best part of the show and what made it worth watching. So yeah,
Nice.
I agree with you, DGC. And let's see, T-Bone caught about half of the anime, enjoyed it, but didn't feel like anything special. Solid, good anime. I think that seems to be the pretty solid consensus. It is a solid, but nothing special kind of anime. What about the book? Book is Martyr with an exclamation point. Lizzie, did you catch this one?
I did not. I'm going to be real
honest. You did tell us you haven't been reading.
I haven't been reading in several months or several years, honestly. I need to get back into it. But I actually, unfortunately, missed out on all the clubs this month. But hopefully that'll change this month. So
for sure. And how about you, DGC?
No, I did not.
Did not catch this one. So it was an interesting book. I think that I understand why it was making it onto all of the bestseller lists. It definitely had a lot of really interesting things going for it. As I read it as well as listened to the audiobook, so I was like combing through the pages as I was listening. And I think that from that experience, I recommend the audiobook more than reading it. I think that the audiobook was really well done. Especially to get a bit more of an authentic accent. So this is written by Kava Akbar, who is writing from the perspective of very much like a Middle Eastern perspective. We've got Persian perspective, we've got Iranian perspective, and we've got this kind of like immigrant coming into the U.S., but still having a lot of ties and connections to extended family who immigrated over. And so we have a lot of that like accent that I think needed to be brought into our psyches to better understand the characters, their experience, who was who, and who felt like what. It really went places that I did not expect. The twist in this book doesn't happen until like the last 3 chapters. And it was not what I was expecting. And I don't know if I like it. But I did enjoy most of the book. I think that the parts that were the best for me were what I had described in our last episode of the podcast at the beginning of the month, where there was a conversation between Lisa Simpson, like from The Simpsons, and who else was it? I think it was one of the characters like moms or dads or something. And so like that was an interesting little thing. And they do that a couple times. There are a couple chapters where there are these like fantastic dream sequences where these fictional characters and then real life characters have a conversation. And those are probably the most interesting experiences there, the really gripping parts. But then there is this underlying thing that is happening throughout the book that ties you in. So the basic premise of it, Cyrus Shams is a young man grappling. I'm literally reading from the Amazon if you can't pick up. I'm not just coming up with these beautiful words off the tip of my tongue. A young man grappling with an inheritance of violence and loss. His mother's plane was shot down over the skies of the Persian Gulf in a senseless accident. His father's life in America was circumscribed by his work killing chickens at a factory farm in the Midwest. Cyrus is a drunk, an addict, and a poet whose obsession with martyrs leads him to examine the mysteries of his past, toward an uncle who rode through Iranian battlefields dressed as the angel of death to inspire and comfort the dying, towards his mother through a painting discovered in a Brooklyn art gallery that suggests she may not have been who or what she seemed. That is a pretty good precursor, but then there is one moment in the book. This is not a spoiler, but there is a thing that happens where in Cyrus's pursuit of trying to understand martyrdom, there is a character named Orchidea who is a very famous artist, and she's dying. She is terminal. And so she is going to be an exhibit. And so she sets up to live in a museum until she passes. And she wants to talk with people, be with people, give advice, hear stories, whatever, during that time as a kind of living exhibit. Cyrus visits Orchidea several times to understand if this is martyrdom and what martyrdom is about. That, I think, is one of the big through lines of the book that is really worth experiencing. That kind of like exploration of death and of dying in the midst of wanting to like deify the concept of martyrdom was just a really interesting exchange. So I think it's an interesting book. I don't know if I liked where it went, but I will need more opinions on that than just mine to fully lean into that. So a good one all around.
Seems really interesting.
Yeah. T-Bone, it did not catch. Says, couldn't get into the book for some reason. Loan for the audiobook came in the other day, but I haven't tried to yet. I recommend the audiobook. Again, I will double down on that. I think if you want to experience Martyr, if what I just described to you sounds good, you should seek out the audiobook, as I think that is the better way to experience this one. And then finally, our game, Cat Quest. So, Lizzie, you've said you have not played Cat Quest. Did you
I have not played it. I haven't.
Did you catch Cat Quest?
No. I was not interested.
I'll be honest with you, GGC. I did not think I was either. Whenever I first saw Cat Quest, I was like, oh boy, I will play this. Okay. But I don't want to play this. Like, I'm not necessarily on board with this. It looks kind of like something that is not my usual steez. I didn't really understand. It looked like, to be completely blunt, it looked like a mobile game. Like, it just looked like the most like basic. I wouldn't have been surprised if there were like gotcha mechanics in it, is how it looked to me. And I still think that the art itself could use a little bit of a touch and polish, but it did become more, I could tell that there was a touch of love put into the art once I actually got into the story a little bit. But there was definitely some of that at the beginning that I was like, this is a bit strange. After getting into it, I thought it was a super cute game. Very similar scaling system, ironically enough, to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Definitely not at all at the same level of difficulty. It was a very easy game. I think Cat Quest was a very easy game, but I think it needed to be. I think it was more about exploration, more about the story, more about kind of pursuing things as linearly as the game wants you to have the best experience possible. And so I think it was super fun. The writing was the best part. There were some really good jokes in there. Some that were maybe a little bit more dated than others. You could tell this game was a little bit older. And it reminded me about how much memes die so quickly. Like, I don't know when this game came out, but it must have been making memes from like 2019, which doesn't feel that long ago. But oh boy, whenever you hear a joke from 2019, you're like, you have not yet become quaint. Like, it's not like Icon has cheeseburger level jokes where it's like, now they're coming back around and you're like, okay, all right, that's fine. I guess that's a time long gone past. But instead it was ones that were just like a little too recent, but still not in the zeitgeist. T-Bone loved this game. Game gave an excuse to return to it. Cute game with puns and cats, forgiving combat, nearing the end of the main story. I will say, I think this was a game that you could burn through. There were a lot of side quests. I tried to pursue as many as I had the time and the patience for. And they wound up like leveling me quite quickly by doing it that way. But I think that all in all, an interesting experience. I think if you're looking for a light game and you already have this one that you've gotten through like a Humble Bundle or something before, play it. Sure, it's a nice little palate cleanser. If you're looking for a game without any real like intense difficulty or challenge, if you're looking for something that will meet you where you're at and give you plenty of like ability to scale as the game continues, this is the one. And I think that honestly, my favorite part about it, as strange as it sounds, was the map. I really liked the way they did the map, and it was as if you were running on a map, and so you could see the like words literally on the ground that would be, you know, on a traditional printed map. And I thought that was neat. Yeah. The twist itself was not a big surprise. We'll see. It sounds like T-Bone has not gotten to the twist yet, but we'll see if you were surprised or not by what happens in the very final moments. Oh, you know what? There is this one thing about it that really got me, and this might be spoilers, T-Bone, if you haven't seen any of these moments. Every now and again in this game, you will do something in a side quest or something, and you'll go into this like fugue state, this like dark place, and you will see these just real people, just these shadows of real people. Like, oh gosh, what was the Mushoku Tensei? Like Mushoku Tensei, where you'll go and you'll see God. That was what it felt like. It was like this white place with these black shadow figures that are like real humans, while you are a cat. And they're like talking about like, I don't know if I missed something at some point, but they're like, and then we're all going to trap our bodies inside of cats. And I was like, are they making lore for why we're cats right now? Like, were we once humans? What happens? And there is a Cat Quest 2, I think, and 3. So maybe there's some lore here. I don't know.
It sounds like there is some lore there.
So yeah, I don't know if I need to find the wiki and see like, does Cat Quest is Cat Quest deep, you guys? Is it actually like swinging for the fences? Because those scenes in particular came out of left field, and in a otherwise completely light series, those moments were like, what is happening? Where am I right now? What story is this game trying to tell? Yeah, T-Bone affirms the shadow people freaked them out. Indeed, a strange thing. Okay. Well, that is the clubs from November. We are now starting into the December clubs. You are just in time if you're watching this live. If you're watching the VOD, you might be a day or two late. But tomorrow, for us here in present time, is the start of December 1st. And we have our anime, our book, and our game for the next month. The anime that we chose is one that has been nominated for a while now. We had a new member join Discord several months back now, and they found out about our anime club, and they were like, we're going to watch Laid Back Camp. Like, it's like their favorite anime, and they want us to watch Laid Back Camp, and they have nominated every time, and it has been not voted for every time, and now it has risen to the top. So Laid Back Camp is going to be our December anime. I am thrilled for our new friend over on the Discord space that they are getting us to watch Laid Back Camp, also known as, I think, Yuru Camp, and I am excited to check out this one. It sounds very chill, obviously. Laid Back is literally in the title. I would love for it to surprise me, like what was the one with the Antarctica people?
A place further than the universe.
Yeah, yes. I would love for it to surprise me like that one, like Place Further Than the Universe, which I thought was one thing and turned out to be another. But if it doesn't, and this is just a cozy, sweet time, good enough with me. Book this month is Process. I feel guilty because I nominated this one without realizing this is like a limited release. So if you want to get this one, it's through Toon and Fairweather, and it's expensive. That being said, it does look really cool. So this is the book itself. It's got something just fell out. There's like bits and pieces to it. It's got the like cool printed sides, and I think it's like experiential. So I think it's got like elements inside of it that are meant to be experienced. Like some weird art bits, and the way that you read it, words are upside down, turned around. So it may be for you.
This gives me never mind. I was trying to think of the book.
It might be House of Leaves that you're thinking of, because that's what it reminds me of.
That's what I was thinking.
Was that of last year? Because
What?
I remember there being a book last year or so where people were talking about how they got it on their as an ebook, and it wasn't the same experience because you had
Yeah.
to flip it upside down and all that other fun stuff. Hold it in a mirror, maybe.
Yeah, I think that we have not done House of Leaves at Checkpoint, but I read it last year and ate it up. I
Okay.
consumed House of Leaves in 48 hours, which it's a big book. It's a big book. And I read it so quick. But yeah, very much in that line. So if you're down for this one, cool. If it is out of your price range, totally understand. It is on Kindle, so it is available for you if you want to try to consume it that way. But it sounds like the best way to experience it is probably printed, which is only through Tune and Fairweather, which is, I think, $40. So like I said, this is a pricey book. So I understand if this is a month that most people skip out on. I will be experiencing it and bringing my thoughts with me to our end of the month or beginning of January Checkpoint Church podcast. So if you want to at least hear some thoughts about how it was, I will bring those with me. And you can experience it vicariously through me. But if you're somebody that wants to imbibe in a book that is weird, then I encourage you to join us over on the Discord space. And then finally, the game of the month is one that actually just came out, Winter Burrow. So this is a sort of survival-esque game where you play as a tiny little winter mouse trying to survive the winter. And you've got to scrounge up things. I don't know what I've not actually played the demo. A lot of people played the demo and fell in love with it, and then it dropped and people wanted to experience it. So I think it's on Game Pass. So if you already have a Game Pass subscription, then this one is ostensibly free. Of course you paid Game Pass, but you could just add it onto your list and join us. I am looking forward to experiencing this one cozied up underneath a blanket on my Steam Deck as soon as I get done bashing the Steam Deck into my forehead playing Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. That's what I've got to get done with that one first before I dive into Winter Burrow, but I'm looking forward to it. T-Bone is very excited and enjoyed it. Yeah, this does feel up your alley, Lizzie. This feels like one of yours.
I have not played the demo, and I guess I probably should before I invest. But yeah, I'm very excited to play it. I've seen it a little bit, and I know other friends who are really excited to play it too.
Very nice. Well, do join us, folks. Be sure to hop into our Discord space if you haven't already. It'll be linked down below, or if you're listening on the podcast, in the show notes. And you can join us for Laid Back Camp, Process, or Winter Burrow. We will have forum spaces to have conversations around those three throughout the month. We would love to have you with us. With that, we're going to have a quick little announcement for something that we are doing here at Checkpoint throughout the next couple of weeks that we would love for you to participate with. So without further ado, enjoy this quick advertisement. Hey everyone, it is officially that time again, the most chaotic, wholesome, nerdy tradition that we have somehow invented together. Checksmas is back. If you're new around here, Checksmas is our annual white elephant, but actually thoughtful gift exchange where we send each other little presents and unwrap everything together at the Checksmas party, this year happening on January 4th. Here is how to join in. First, you're going to fill out a planning center form that is linked down below, and that's where you officially sign up. We're going to get your Discord handle. We're going to get what country that you live in, a quick confirmation that you are committing to actually sending this gift, along with some important dates. Once you sign up, you're going to make an Amazon holiday registry. Not a normal list. It's got to be a registry typically themed with the holiday in mind. Add a bunch of items that you genuinely like, all preferably under $20. Multiple items, lots of options. Keep it simple. Don't worry, we'll give you a little list of suggestions if you're drawing a blank. Books, puzzles, small games, cozy items, card sleeves, art supplies, whatever sparks joy that is relatively affordable. When you set up your list, make sure that your address stays hidden. Amazon has a built-in option for that, and we'll point you to a quick walkthrough. No addresses are going to be shared in Discord or in any other way. It's all handled on Amazon's side of things. This is open to the whole Checkpoint community this year. By signing up, you agree to send a gift. We're going to be pairing people thoughtfully, especially for folks who might need a little extra care. Your wish list and sign up need to be in to us by December 7th. You'll get your assigned person shortly after that, and then we'll do a quick check-in on December 14th just to make sure that your gifts are ordered. And then the big day, January 4th, we're going to have a big Checksmas party over on our Discord server. Cameras on if you're comfortable. Unwrap your gift live, react, celebrate, maybe try to guess who sent what. It's always a good time. So get ready. Signups are live down below. Start thinking about the fun little under $20 things that you'd love to receive and the joy you might send to someone else. Checksmas 2025 is officially on. We do things like this because we believe three things to be true about every single one of you out there. Number one, that God loves you. Number two, we love you. Number three, that you matter. Till next time, bye-bye. All right, there is our Checksmas announcement. If you missed it the other day, dropped over in the Discord space. We will continue kind of hounding that for the next couple of days as signups come to a close. Be sure to fill out that link that I'll have linked in the description of this video or podcast, and let us know that you plan to participate. But without further ado, we're going to get into the next part of our show, which is the Game Awards. The Game Awards announced their 2025 list. If you're not sure what this is, the Game Awards is a yearly award show, although if we're being totally honest, it is a yearly excuse to get together and talk about games. It is less of an award show in the sense of like, it's not rigorous. It's not something where there's any kind of like intense discussion. Even if there is intense discussion, it's not meant to be. They're not trying to say anything more declarative than like, this is what our small selection pool has voted on as being the best of the best. It does tend to like capture a lot of the main games in the zeitgeist, the ones that are the most exciting, but it does often tend to miss some of the more niche games. Or some of the games that kind of go under the surface, expressed, underexperienced, underwatched. So it's one of those things. Like, it is an award show, but it really is just an excuse to get together. As a quick like promo in front of this, we're going to be talking about what the nominees were, our thoughts on them, that kind of thing. But excuse me. But we will be watching the Game Awards together as it happens live on December 11th. So be sure to join us on December 11th for the Game Awards. We will be watching them probably with a friend or two just to enjoy the experience. Typically, it is about like 3 hours worth of Game Awards performances, interviews, and then plenty of trailers. So we see a lot of trailers for the year ahead of what to expect in the world of video games, a lot of world premieres. And then I think probably the best part of the night is the second to last thing, which is whenever the orchestra performs all of the Game of the Year nominees, one song from them in like this beautiful Game of the Year medley, which is something that I still go back to and listen to for past years. So rather than dwell on each and every one of these Game of the Year categories, or every single one of these Game Awards categories, I thought we would just highlight some of the ones that are the most interesting or the most exciting to us here, ending with, of course, the GOTY nomination. So which ones are the ones that stand out for you, Lizzie? What are the categories that you keep your eyes on or that stand out to you in the list?
Honestly, I was a little shocked about how many games I didn't know. Yeah, like I've heard of a lot of the games, but I had not played many of them. But I was excited to see that like Wanderstop made it for sure, and that I've played a lot of Peak, so seeing Peak on there was really nice too. Even just as best multiplayer. Yeah, I thought it was really interesting. I think this is my first year actually paying attention to the Game Awards. So I've been interested in like Clair Obscur Expedition 33, and that was definitely nominated for a lot. And I've heard so many good things from like you and other people in Checkpoint, but even people outside of Checkpoint have been like, "Oh, you have to play it. It's the best." So seeing it nominated so much just, I guess, enforced that for me. Yeah.
They definitely deserved all the nominations Ain't God. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's such an interesting thing. I have a lot of mixed feelings on Clear Obscure. I think that it is without a doubt like a phenomenal game. I feel the same way I do about it that I did about Baldur's Gate 3. They are like the same game for me. Like not literally, I don't mean that they're like the same game, but I mean that they are on the same level of like everyone is obsessed with these games to a level of like this is the best game ever made. And while I agree they are exceptional games, the flaws that were in them stood out against me so heavily. But that being said, I do agree Clair Obscure undoubtedly got a lot of nominees, and a lot of them were very much deserved. I think that an interesting thing looking at this year's nominees pool is that we did have a lot of repetition, but not as much as we've had in the past year. Like Clair Obscure getting 10 noms is excessive. That is like the most that has ever been given out to one game in particular. And it did make for a lot of overlap. But there were a bunch of games this year that I thought were going to get entirely snubbed that did get brought up. Like I think that Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 itself getting GOTY nom is a pretty big deal. The fact that it actually got like brought out, I didn't think it was going to get any attention. There were some games that were sort of sleepers, especially one I think from a no-name studio, Atomfall. That one came out of nowhere as like the British Fallout was what they were trying to do. And I played through that one. It was okay, but it still got a nomination, which, you know, brought me good feelings that it got attention. Doom the Dark Ages got attention. I didn't think it was going to get anything. We got what other ones? I wasn't expecting Ninja Gaiden 4 to get any attention. I wasn't expecting Indiana Jones to get any attention. There were a bunch of Avowed is the one from Oblivion that I wasn't expecting to get attention. There were all these games that I thought were going to get completely passed over, just because of the fact that typically you get a lot of games getting multiple nominations, but that was not the case this year. I thought they had a really appropriate spread that was very inclusive of a lot of games that normally would have gotten passed over by the AAA titles that were the heavy hitters. So I think that was a good thing for me to see. Like I mentioned earlier, the categories that I like to watch in particular are indie games, games for impact, and then the GOTY nom. And so to shed a little bit of light on what those wound up being, games for impact essentially is like the games that we're trying to tell a like purposeful narrative. So it's not like best narrative game in the sense of like this is a game that is trying to tell a really compelling story from A to Z. Instead, the narrative they're trying to share in and of itself is something for a bit of a deeper meaning. And I'm actually having trouble finding it. I know it was Despelote was one of them. Wasn't it?
I believe so, as well as Wanderstop. And there was one more that we've played, or that we've talked about before that was on there.
I'm having trouble finding the list. Hang on, let me go to TGA's.
They're verifying my request as I open it.
That is a lot of sixes from Minerva. So Games for Impact, the way they describe it is their thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. That is their way that they describe it. I've played each of these games. I have officially made sure that I played each of them in time. The only ones that I had not played until like just before the announcements were Consume Me and Despelote. Those were two that I added to my list, and I loved them both a whole lot. Out of the 5 games, we have Consume Me, Despelote, Lost Records, Bloom and Rage, which is the latest from Don't Nod, the Life is Strange folks, South of Midnight, and then Wanderstop. Wanderstop is the one that I personally voted for on this list, and you should go vote too. The Game Awards nominees do accept audience voting. That was the one that stood out to me as being the best and the brightest, although I honestly think it could be a 3-way tie between that one, Consume Me, and Despelote. I think those are all like very, very, very good games, like exceptional games. In fact, I think that Consume Me, in my humble opinion, would have been a better nomination for debut indie than any of the other debut indies. I think that it is one that like, this is clearly a labor of love. This is something that was so like brought in by somebody that really wanted to offer something important to the world and took it on as like a team of two to do this thing. Obviously, it's bigger than a team of two, but not much. And it wasn't bigger than a team of two for very long. We do have a demo of Consume Me Let's Play that I can link to down below if I remember to over on our Let's Play channel to let people know that that does exist and that they can watch it if they would like to. But all 5 of these are exceptional games. I do think 3 of them are more exceptional. Lost Records was one that I think was trying to do something and was pretty fun, but I don't know. It didn't really stand out too much to me. And then same goes for South of Midnight. I enjoyed South of Midnight well enough, but it didn't really do anything that wowed me, I guess. Any thoughts from y'all on that Games for Impact category? Had you played these other than Wanderstop?
I hadn't
No.
even played Wanderstop, so I've
Same here.
really been slacking this year. But I've been really wanting to play both Wanderstop and Consume Me. So
Yeah.
everybody speaks very highly about them.
Yeah, my vouch for Consume Me that stands above is there is what I think is one of the most most impressive, like religious commentaries from a video game that I've seen in a while, especially with like modern religious commentary. Like I think you see a lot of religion in video games where it's like either it's like Starfield and it's like future space religion where it's like what are we even talking about anymore, or it's like Kingdom Come Deliverance where it's like paying indulgences and talking about like historic religion and the problems of the Reformation, that kind of stuff. But like this game is like, no, this is what it's like to be a 20-something going to the local megachurch, and like, that's an interesting thing to capture in your indie game randomly in the 3rd act. So it's really good, very impressive, and one of the funniest scenes that I've seen in a while as well. So I am potentially writing a whole nerdy sermon on it because it just tickled me so much. But yeah. And if you're a fan of the McElroy brothers, it's the person that is leading the worship song in it sounds like Griffin McElroy to me, and so you can enjoy that. Sorry if that cursed your ears because now you're going to hear it, but it's good time.
I don't even think I know who that is, but that's okay.
No, that's okay.
If you know, heard a song.
Yeah, if you know, you'll know. So that's my category number 1 that I typically put above all the others. I've done that really since Checkpoint has started. Since 2020, I've played all of the games for Impact. We used to stream all of the games for Impact because they were such important games, in my opinion, that I wanted to make sure that people heard. The other category that is important to me is indie. There's actually 2 indie categories. There's the best debut indie game and then the best indie game, which the ones for this year are Absalom, Ball Pit, Blueprints, Clair Obscura, Expedition 33, Hades 2, Hollow Knight, Silksong. The way they define best independent game is outstanding creative and technical achievement in a game made outside the traditional publisher system, which should show you why this is such a silly thing that we don't take the Game Awards more seriously than we need to, because that doesn't mean anything. Like those are just words. What is the traditional publisher system? What is indie? What does it mean to be a part of an indie label? Like you've got games that have just so much backing. You have games that have absolutely no backing. You have games that are made out of a garage, and then you have games that are made from somebody that is like, left Ubisoft and has so much knowledge and all that stuff that they could make a work of art easily. So yeah, it's interesting. Very interesting category, but I personally for this one voted for Blueprints. I think that Blueprints is the one that stands above as being something that deserves best indie game this year. While I do think that Hollow Knight was very, very good, I think Hades 2 were very, very good. Both of those were iterative. I think that they were good, but they were iterative. I think that both of them broke the mold with their first games in amazing ways. And with their second games, I don't know if they broke the mold again. They just kind of did it again, but they didn't really like break it again. They just were more of that game. And I don't mean in the way that a lot of people said that like Tears of the Kingdom was a sequel to Breath of the Wild. I mean that like Tears of the Kingdom did indeed like add something new. Hollow Knight does add something new. Hades 2 adds something new. But there's a difference between adding something new to your games and something coming out of nothing. When Hollow Knight did not exist to Hollow Knight existing. When Hades did not exist to Hades existing. And I think Blueprints, for me, nothing existed like this. It is something that is completely completely new and deserves the attention there. The only one out of this category that I've not played is Ball Pit. Not Ball Pit, excuse me, is Absalom, which is the roguelike beat 'em up. And I don't know if I will. maybe. I do like indie games a whole lot, and a lot of people have loved this one, but I have no interest in like Streets of Rage kind of vibe. Like that is not my genre. So we'll see.
Looking at the picture of it, I like the little frog.
Yeah, I
at
think
the
it's.
top.
I think that's what people have said a lot about it. Is like it's very, very well made. It's like it's cute art and inspired, and I appreciate that about it.
I definitely voted for Blueprints. Again, I haven't played any of the games, but I had heard so much uproar yet again about Blueprints that I was like, yeah, okay. More than any of the rest of the games.
Yeah, it's always interesting when it comes to these categories because it's like, do I think Clair Obscur is like an exceptional game? Sure. Do I think that it should win indie game? Maybe, but only if it doesn't win other things. Like it's like
I do not think. I don't think it should have gone there. That's the problem nowadays. Point where it's hard to tell games considered for that category because while yes, it technically is indie, but I see it more as like a AA title,
right?
Than an indie game.
Yep, which doesn't have a category, and so it's like, what do they do? Where do they put this if it doesn't exist within any other kind of framework? It's not, outside of it is outside of like the traditional publishing system, but what does that actually mean? And when do they become the traditional publishing system? Is it after they make 2 Clair Obscurs? Then is there like third one now a like established publishing system? I don't know. It's silly. It obviously is what makes this whole thing ridiculous, but it's still fun to look at them. I think Clair Obscur deserves to win some things. I don't know if they deserve to win everything.
Yes.
And so that's always where I fall, is like I don't want them to win over Blueprints for this category, even if I think the game may or may not be better. Because I just don't want them to be a complete sweep. I am anti-sweep. In these award shows, I am not a fan of whenever people are like, they won 6 awards. I'm like, that is a bad thing. We all lose whenever they win that many awards. We want more people to win awards so that we can, lift up everybody. Because the more we lift up everybody, the more that the industry promotes itself and a rising tide and all that stuff. So, yeah. Thoughts on thoughts. Best debut indie is another category. So that's the other indie category. This is the best debut game from a new independent studio, which again, that is just words. That means nothing. What does it mean to be a studio? Do you have to declare a studio? It's so silly. In fact, it's so silly that one of the games got removed. So there were originally 5 games nominated for this, one of which was Megabonk, which is hilarious that game got a nominee. Hilarious. Megamonks is not a good game, y'all. It's not that it's a bad game. It's fine. It's not a good game. It's very silly to call it a good game. Like it would be, I don't even know how to describe. It is as silly to me as Uma Musume getting a nomination. It would be like that getting nominated for a best debut game, like putting a mobile game up for best debut game. It's not a good game. Megabonk is silly. It's a meme game. It did not make any sense that it was up there. Regardless, the person that made it was like, I've made other games before. Like this is not a debut game. I've done this many times now. None of them have ever taken off, but I've done this before. And so wound up requesting that the game be removed. So the current debut list is Blueprints, Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, Despelote, and then Sleeper. I was not expecting it. Dispatch. I thought Dispatch came out way too late to get a nomination, and there was no chance it was going to get a nomination, but it did, and that is my vote. Dispatch was so good and absolutely deserves it, especially as a debut. Like whenever I think about a debut, this is one that came out absolutely swinging. In a similar way, ironically enough, to Clair Obscur, like this is former Telltale execs. It's also one that raised a whole ton of money because it has the like cast list to this game is insane. The production value is absolutely out the wazoo. So like this was a very expensive indie game, which does make it a little bit unfair, but it was definitely one that like absolutely swung for the fences and I really enjoyed and intend to vote for myself.
That is the one that I voted for, but again, haven't played. I feel a little guilty. It's all good.
It's a lot of games. It's a lot of games and a lot of different categories. Let's see. Those are pretty much the ones beyond Game of the Year that I want to call out during this time. Some other ones that I think are worth mentioning are some of the games that I highlighted. So like I mentioned, how we have these like games that I didn't expect to get attention that then did get attention, which I've already called those out. Some of the ones that I maybe didn't mention in that are Outer Worlds 2, Monster Hunter Wilds, Death Stranding 2, Ghost of Yotei, Split Fiction, which I personally do not like, but I understand that people love it, and I want them to love it, and I want them to get the accolades that they deserve. Donkey Kong Bonanza. Nintendo once again did what Nintendo does at the Game Awards. It always gets like 2 games in there. I do think it's so funny to me what people will vote on Nintendo and what they won't vote on Nintendo. It's very clear there's like an anti-Nintendo bias, which is fine.
Yes.
I think that Nintendo is also anti-Game Awards for what it's worth. So it's not like it's a one-way relationship. I think they both don't like each other, and they only vote for each other because they have to.
That's fair.
Yeah, I think that's where it falls. A game that I think got snubbed, unfortunately, is Silent Hill F. I think it deserved way more attention than it got. It did get, I believe, Best Narrative and Best Audio
It
Design.
also got Best, yes.
Yeah,
and
so
also
those are
voice actors also got nominated for Best Performance as well.
Yeah, which it was good. I think I voted on this one for my best narrative. I think that it was either that or Clear Obscure. I do think Clear Obscure is a really, really good narrative, but because Silent Hill only got like 2 noms, I want to get this one. Also, the person that wrote this one is one of my favorites, visual novel writers as well. So wanted to give some love and attention to that one. Yeah, those are pretty much the main categories and just that I wanted to focus on, unless there was anything that y'all wanted to call out before we talk about what actually got the Game of the Year nom.
I think I'm good, personally. What about you, DGC?
I do, but kind of running short on. So let's just go ahead and move on to the Game of the Year.
Okay. So the Game of the Year nomination for this year, it did get the full 6 as it usually does. The 6 nominees are Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2 On the Beach, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Hades 2, Hollow Knight Silksong, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. So like I mentioned here, the only one of these that I had not played was Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, although technically I have not played Death Stranding 2 either, but I never played the first one. So I can't play the second one, I feel like, until I play the first one. Although I've heard that the intro to Death Stranding 2 does explain Death Stranding 1 pretty well. And so you don't actually have to play the first game, but I don't know. Me and Kojima, I don't always vibe with his games as much as I respect him as the auteur that he is. So I don't know if I'll end up playing that one or not, but I have played the other 4 games to the point of rolling credits and enjoying them and experiencing them. And I don't know. I think I've got to vote for Clair Obscur for this one. And I do think that there is a realm that it is the one that needs to be the winner out of these 6. As much as I have enjoyed some elements of Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I think I cannot possibly vote in good conscience for that one to win Game of the Year because it is just the worst imaginable beginning to a game there has ever been. It's such a broken game that it is silly to vote for it, but some people, it is their favorite game. And I will tell you, this is a game that the more that I've learned about it, there are a lot of people that before they get to the first act, to the first real ending of the first act, they have 70, 80 hours into the game. And so this is a game that you can do so much in, and you can truly live in this world, and people do. I will not be doing that, but I did indeed spend a good chunk of time before ending the first act. There were a ton of side quests, a ton of things to do. And it is an interesting experience. Too many hours for first act. From what I understand, the true people that are obsessed with this game, they put in hundreds of hours, multiple hundreds of hours into this game. And that's an impressive feat. It's hard to deny that it is not impressive, even if it's not necessarily for me. So after all things said and done, Hades 2, Hollow Knight Silksong, they didn't wow me in the way that I necessarily needed them to, but they're also not really games that are for me. I did play to the rolled credits of Silksong. I did not continue into Act 2. Same goes for Hades 2. I rolled credits one time and did not continue into any post-game content. So those are where those stood for me. Technically, the same could be said for Donkey Kong Bonanza. I rolled credits and finished there as well. Not a lot of time for post-game content whenever I'm trying to book through so many games throughout the year. But all things considered, I think I've got to land on Clair Obscur just because even though there are things that I didn't absolutely love about it, it's an impressive game, and I think this is the one that it should win, and then probably not many others. What about y'all?
I would agree. I haven't played any of the other games, and so I just continued to vote for Clair Obscur.
For me, it was a toss-up between Expedition 33 and Bonanza. Both really good. But I just went with Expedition 33 because everything about it was just so good.
Yeah.
I also was like, Nintendo doesn't need that award. It's fine. They got enough.
I will tell you, there is a 0% chance of Nintendo winning the Game of the Year. Like, I don't think it will ever happen again. Like, fully unironically, I don't think Metroid Prime is going to win next year. It doesn't even matter how good it is. Like, I think there is no chance Nintendo will ever win Game of the Year ever again. They just don't have the right relationship. And yeah, there's something weird. There's some kind of weird bias in that pool. There's already an anti-Nintendo bias, I think, in the like journalist elite.
There's kind of a bit of an anti-anime bias.
Yeah.
Because
go ahead.
No, I'm fine.
Okay. Well, I do think there is like what you were saying was this like there are a lot of games on here that could have been on here that were not. Like, I think that, I did mention that I think it was a respectable spread, but I do think that there were a lot of snubs. And in particular, it was JRPG snubs. Like, I think we got some real overlooked games, and almost all the ones that were overlooked that I can think of are games that were RPGs, JRPGs in particular. So an interesting twist there. But from what I understand, for those of you that don't follow Alana Pierce, you should check out Alana Pierce's stuff because she talked about the actual process of how this goes down, of how nominations go. And essentially, it is a bunch of people who never talk and don't know each other putting in a couple of games that they play. And it is typically like plagued by recency bias. It's plagued by however many votes that in particular studios get. And so they have there's no secret cohort Zoom call with 100 judges who are talking about why this game, not that game. It's just people writing on a slip of paper and being like, I like these games this year. And that's like the extent of the process. So again, don't ever take it any more seriously than it needs to be. It'll be a great night and a fun time to get to experience a lot of fun trailers, to root for the games that you want to root for, to see the teams that worked really hard be celebrated. Like, that's my favorite part. And that's why I say that I think it's so much better to see the awards be spread, because then you get to see more teams get the appreciation that they deserve and feel good about their work and feel appreciated for their work. And if I'm already being served by getting to see so many trailers, like the way I want these teams to be served is by being appreciated. And the way we do that is by making sure that everybody that really deserves it, that can, gets as many awards as possible spread out, and nobody gets kind of a cluster of one. So that's where we'll land this plane with the Game Awards. Be sure, again, join us on December 11th as we watch through the results of that. If you'd like to participate in our little game, I am planning on putting out the Excel sheet probably this week. I thought about doing the voting cards, but after looking at them, I think it's going to be more work than it's worth to go through each and every one and like figure out who has the best score. So instead, I'm going to be putting out a little Google form that you fill out what your votes, or not what your votes are, but what you think is going to win. If you get more of them correct than everyone else, then you win a little gift. And I think what we're going to do is probably going to be the Game of the Year winner. Or if you already have that game, maybe like credit to Steam of an equal value, or Nintendo Game Store of an equal value, or something like that. So we will figure out how to make that one work. But ideally, I'd like to give out the Game of the Year that wins to the winner. And we'll talk about it with whoever is that winner when the time comes. But yeah, hope that you'll be able to join us. We are a little bit past the time that I want it to be, but I still want to fit in our final question, which is, how did you checkpoint this week? So I'm going to ask our co-host, how did you checkpoint in the past week? I'm going to ask you in the chat as well. How did you checkpoint? This is a thing we're trying to make work. We're trying to turn it into a verb. This is, how did you live into digital life? How did you best experience your life online in the past week or so? Let's start with Lizzie.
So I mildly panicked because I was like, how did I checkpoint this week? It's been a crazy week. But I would say I spent some time playing a game with a friend. I played Dinkum again with a friend a couple of times this week, who I've been wanting to catch up with. And so it was nice getting to hear from her and playing that game that she introduced me to again. So, yeah.
Very nice. DGC.
All right. Helping out with today at Checkpoint whenever I can, and hosting the last watch party for this month anime club.
Love it. Very good. I am planning on checkpointing tonight by joining us for Mana and Mingle. So this is a 2-hour thing that we do every Sunday night. You don't have to be there the whole 2 hours, but we go from 8 until 10 Eastern time, hanging out on our Discord space, playing games, maybe going through the green glass door. We will see whenever we get there what happens and what we decide to do with our time that we have together. And I hope that you'll join us over in our Discord space. It's linked down below. You can join our Discord and tune in to our live chat tonight for Man and Mingle. We will take communion at the hour mark. This is our worship gathering that we do every week, although it doesn't feel like a church service. You're not like experiencing, a big choir and a sermon and all that. Instead, we're just together. And then we celebrate the Lord's Supper at the hour mark. So we'd love to have you there for that and tuning in with us and letting us know how you checkpointed this week. All right. With that, we're going to end the show, and we're going to thank our wonderful co-hosts. Thank you to Lizzie and DGC. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate T-Bone for being our chat manager there in the chat, tuning in, clipping, doing all of those wonderful things. And we will look forward to catching you all around the various Discord spaces or YouTube spaces or Twitch spaces or wherever we happen to be that week. We look forward to seeing you there. Thanks, everybody that tuned in the chat as well and participated. And for those that are watching the VOD and are going to comment down below, I appreciate you as well. With that, we're going to end the show with our 3 things that we believe to be true about every single one of you out there. Whether you believe in God, don't believe in God, go to church, don't go to church, hate God, hate church, no matter what, we still believe these 3 things to be true about you. Number 1, that God loves you, like really, really loves you. Number 2, we love you. We want community with you. That's what we're doing here. And number 3, that you, yes, you matter. You're a person of sacred worth. The world is a better place. Why? Because you are in it. All right, folks, until the next time that we see ya. Bye-bye.